Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Dr. Rao coming to you at my regular room. We are doing the uh, energy and entrepreneurship, enhance the human beings, especially the entrepreneur class, which is going to multiply with the artificial intelligence. I think, everybody will have a side hustle because it's much easier to write and to publish things and also to develop courses, a lot of things like that, right? So I am kind of anticipating a lot of need for this kind of courses where they can really manage their energy and enhance their energy. That's what I'm looking for. So I thought I will conduct this. Yesterday we talked about optimal sleep, how you can improve the quality of your sleep and thereby really regenerate your energy by resting body and the mind, right? And somebody asked me about how to meditate coolly. So I think she'll come a little bit later, but she asked for it. So I was promising her that I will discuss that. I have done this several times in the past, but then in terms of what is good for the entrepreneur, if you look at it, we can always, uh, discuss about that. You know that we have a lot of information and we have been going into so many areas here that we are spending a lot of energy with the scattered minds and not able to put them together and not able to really escape from the brain fog or overwork of the mind and too many thoughts and all that is happening. We know that. I talked about this extensively, but still I think it is something that is worth mentioning, especially in terms of entrepreneurs have to work so many things on their own, and they have to take responsibility, and then they have to work round the clock, right? So they will be spending a lot of energy on thoughts that may be unnecessary sometimes. Maybe they will be worried, they will be really anticipating problems and all that, or sometimes they just came up, right? I have been a solo practitioner for decades, so I know what it is to run a private corporation and how to manage our mind around. For me, fortunately, this calming my hi.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Rao?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm good. My
Yeah.
kids are out of school, so school's out. I'm excited.
Very good, very good. So, I was doing this series on energy and entrepreneurs, So, we talked about sleep yesterday, and today I was going to talk about just a simple meditation and enhancing our energy, So, somebody, I think Sanya, I think she asked for it. I said we will talk about it. So, what do you think about entrepreneurship and then energy?
I think it is so important to be mindful of your energy. I was just having this conversation earlier with a colleague of mine about how um, there should be an exchange, in order to keep things in balance. And a lot of times when we're passionate about our industry or job,
Yeah.
we work overtime with doing that passion, but not sometimes getting things in return. You have people who do things for free, and
Yeah.
you end up with overwhelm and burnout because you're not putting that energy in a place where it gives something back.
Yeah, it is the paycheck is the last thing that you can take because you're the last person get paid, so you have to take care of suppliers, everybody else. So I know how it is to take a salary or anything for yourself. It's a big deal, and that's a lot of tension too. The loans, the banks, and so many things, right? So
Mhm.
I kind of taught my staff how to be in the moment, and that helped a lot for them. And then kind of having the vision with them, sharing them like where we want to go, where we want to take the clinic, what kind of services we want to provide. That helped a lot. And then I was always training them. I was my dictum was that clone them with whatever I want to teach them, they want to learn, and then delegate. So,
Mhm.
clone and delegate. That was to be my mantra. So they were able to really understand what I want, or what kind of things they need to develop, and if they don't have skills, that then I could teach them. And after they learned them, the managers, if they come, somebody comes newer, they were able to tell them this is exactly what we are hoping for. This is our mission. This is our aims and all that. That helped a lot. And instead of me taking everything on me, I used to delegate quite a lot after I have the confidence and I know that they are able to do this. Even if they mess up, if they do honest effort, that's good. That it could be a learning experience. We can see that. But if they are making too many and they're not learning, then we have to let them go. Otherwise, we were given a chance. Another thing that really helped me was when the employee came on board, I personally had a private chat with them after they were hired and everything else. They settled, employment agreement and all those. Then I sat down with them and said, what is that really you want to do in your life? What is the main thing that you want to do, but you don't have the resources or you don't have the opportunity or you have kids, whatever, right? They were very happy to confide that. And then I kept that in my mind. I came to that once in a while, just writing, quarterly report, all those things are. Before that, I used to talk to them, what is happening with your goal, what were you doing, what can we can do as an institution, what how can you support you and all that. They were very pleased that I remembered their goal, you know and they felt, oh yeah, really, we appreciate you, doc, for remembering that. I said, I'm here to help you with whatever you want to do. So when one of the process, they used to come and confide to me that they were not able to focus, they were not able to sleep well, or they were having these kids problems or relationship, whatever, right? Then this asking them to be centered in the morning, which is simple exercise, really helped them to not to generate their own stress with multiple reactions and all that. So they were hooked on that. And then I told them just to sit down, 5 minutes, just concentrate on the breathing and let the thoughts also be at a distance. And then you will be able to develop that inner balance in the morning, and that will go a long way. So they remembered that, and some people did it, especially when they're in trouble, and then they came back for more. Then I had evening sessions with some patients who are anxious, who are depressed or whatever. And I was always telling them how to manage their mind. And one of the first things come up is, what is meditation? How do we do it? Then I used to make them, okay, let's do right here. And then I used to do brief meditation with them. And then they really appreciated that. And afterwards, they picked it up. And then later on, they came with the individual question. But this is all done among the practice, is it? Not like something separate from it. So people with high blood pressure are given this exercise, people with anxiety, people with depression, people with serious illnesses like a cancer and other things that they had, they were really worried about what is going to happen to them and all that, especially in the beginning stage, before they accept and they understand what is going on with them. So this, instead of calling a big word like a meditation, I used to tell them, calm your mind, take that into your account, take it more like a thing that you can manage. Don't let be dictated by it. So then they were very happy with that, because otherwise they were going on spending time in worry without really going anywhere. So do you do meditation, Grandma?
I've gotten a lot better at it, and I have a lot of people that tell me a lot about, oh, I can't meditate, but I challenge them and say, a lot of times we meditate all the time on negative things.
Yeah.
Things we can't do, we meditate on problems that are not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you just have to reframe that mindset into something that's positive.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah.
I think all of us know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's just reframing what we're doing to something that serves us rather than something that doesn't.
Yeah. That is the kind of a 2 or 3 steps, but the initially is these people can't even sit down just with themselves. They have to have some music, something going on, something like that, right? Those people, I used to tell them, all you do is get up in the morning, sit properly, give back erect, and then close your eyes and just focus on the breath. Okay? And as your thoughts are going around, bring your attention back to breath. Again, bring it back. After a few minutes like that, then you know that thoughts have slowed down. And then if you can identify whether they are negative or positive. And then the cognitive reframing is, that's a very good. A lot of people think I can never slow down, but then they start to deep breath, then they will see, okay, it is going down. And then the more they come back to the breathing center, and then kind of hooking the mind to the breath, and that goes down, then they can be seeing whether they are negative or positive. That's when I teach them consciously think. Don't let the negatives, everything come up and then take over you. Just consciously, and then what you said about reframing is a very, very good thing. And yoga also described this as a pratipaksha bhavana. That means you kind of want to go to the opposite of negative and stay in the positive. That's very, very good attitude, because having this pessimistic attitude will deepen you into the negativity and lead you into the depression. But if you have this building on conscious thought, another thing that helped people was, I told them, before you go to sleep, whatever is in life, okay, pick up 1 to 5 positive things that happened today for you, and then think about them, and then be positive, get the positive energy from them, and then sleep on that. Okay, the simple exercise, right? And then they really opened up their positivity, and then they separated the negativity much better, sleeping on the positives. And then in the morning, when you get up, don't go into the any thoughts or anything, just be aware and all that. That's very true. Converting negative to positive, it adds so much to the real meditation. So do you do daily meditation, Grandma?
Yeah, I think even the whole thing of meditating is different for everybody, because there's so many things. To me, I think of meditation as being able to get yourself back to center.
Yeah.
Because throughout the day, I have 15 kids, so I have 10 of them that are still at home. And so there's so many things that can trigger our behavior, and it's up to us to kind of be able to center ourselves
exactly
and minimize that triggering that gets us to because I believe you attract what you believe, or what you're putting out there. It's up to me to change that energy, or if you're not in a meditative stance, it's hard for you to see what other people, the energy in other people, if you're not clear about what yours is.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. If you are centered in the center, come back to that. So a lot of people talk about work-life balance and all that. I always tell them, first to develop the balance within you, then that will come into everything else. So it's not like a separate work balance and life balance and all that. I don't do that. That's why I don't like the term, oh, it's a Friday, thank God it's Friday now. Why do you have to separate it like that? You be balanced all day, all night, and all through the week. Then you don't have to worry about Friday is coming and only then you can relax. You got to be relaxing and then doing it too. Yeah, coming back to the center is the essence of everything. In the morning, you practice and you can make it a center as a breath and then come back to it. And it's something simple. And then when something situation come, you can always fall back on that. Actually, I told them just do 1 minute breathing every hour and see what happens. But when you're doing it, just not a mechanical breathing, but bringing all your awareness to the center. Am I really centered within myself, or am I thinking too much way about everything? And then this work atmosphere doesn't help these days. People um, really, get triggered, like you said, very easily because it is like that all the time. So that's why I was always telling, have the balance, have the center within you, and then come back to it all the time from wherever, if you wander it away from that. And that becomes a nature after a while. But so many things are diverting us, so much information coming at us. So it kind of becomes difficult. But being a mom of so many people, I'm sure it is like a tremendous patience you must be having to do that, right?
Yeah, because I think one of the things though was realizing that you are always being watched.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're thinking, we're comparing ourselves to other people, whether you're a mom or a business or whatever. And we forget to think about, just like we are watching other people and comparing ourselves to them, other people are doing that to us.
Yeah.
And so that really helps you to be mindful of, you have more influence that you give away every day, rather than what you own and help with other people.
Exactly.
So it has really been a game changer for me to, I overcame 13 years of depression and 3 hospitalizations.
Yeah.
My power is in my ability to be vulnerable, because I can connect with more people with that. And so, because I'm able to be transparent about my story, and it's not a situation where people feel that they have to be perfect, to overcome certain things, it allows me to connect with more people. The more I'm able to not be conscious or focus on what people might be thinking about my story. It really gives me an opportunity to be more of an influence, because I'm telling them the truth, but the narrative is what I'm able to create. And a lot of people don't realize that your power is in narrating your own story rather than somebody else doing that for you.
Sanya, welcome. I think you asked for the meditation, right? Yesterday you mentioned it. That's why I took it up today, because too many thoughts consume so much of energy. That is the series we are doing, Energy and the Entrepreneur. People don't realize we spend so much energy in each thought. Sometimes they go into forming a network of thoughts and they absorb a lot. What we are discussing was about how patient she should have been with so many kids she has. But then she was talking about balance within. That's exactly right. Once we have the balance within, and we are able to really focus on that, then we won't be drawn out of it, and we'll have to handle a lot of situations with coolness. That will help us to save a lot of energy, especially entrepreneurs, because you may not be able to even take a paycheck. There's so many obligations and there's so many things happen to you. So how are you, Sanya? What is going on?
I'm great, Dr. Rao. I came in just in time. And, it's interesting because I think I look at balance a little differently now, of course, right?
Yeah.
And many people, it might be a little bit different in terms of, if we were to ask what's the definition of balance in this case, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's more suited towards the mind, emotions, body, and all of these things, right?
Yeah.
But to some, it might be okay, just the quietness and that time away, right, to get yourself back to that state, right?
Yeah, that state when everything is going well, right? You are making obligations done, and then you are enjoying yourself. You are having some income and all that. But what about the tough times the entrepreneurs have to face? If they lose the cool and that energy is gone. Basically, if you get angry with somebody, they are okay, the opposite people usually. But you are one who is going to be affected by that anger. You drain your energy. There are so many examples like that in a life of an entrepreneur that will happen morning till evening. See, my approach is more like well, I don't want to look at the outward things to be well, but I want to have the inward balance and then go and meet the demands of the world, demands of the job, or whatever, right? And it's more like a facing situation with strength of resilience within us than learning some tricks to handle the situation go. But then if you really focus on your inwardness, then that will be the thing. For example, what America's mom, she was talking about is relating to people because you have certain thing. That's fine, because when I tell them about my stroke and how I recovered and all that, a lot of people kind of relate to that. But then I'm not in the state anymore. I kind of found the strength within and then got over it. I just tell for the sake of it. But some depression patients, all that, they will be talking to each other and then they support each other in that negativity. That was the danger, as I said. But generally, it's true that if you relate to them in something that you experience, most of the people will feel comfortable to tell you those things. For me, as a physician, so many people come and tell because it's the role they see it. But when they saw recovering from the patient and then coming here, that made them much more interested in what did I do to recover so faster, because they thought I'll be in a wheelchair or I'll be walking with a cane or something. But when I came, I'm completely doing all of that. Then they said, oh, what happened? How did you get into this? This quickly recovered. When I told them, they had a better year. That's where I am agreeing with what she was talking about. If you relate to them with something that happened to you, and then there is a lesson there, that they could learn. I think that's the best way to human life, irrespective of our things are. But then this balance is really identifying there is an external tool that is our body, and there's an internal tool, our mind. And then who we are using these tools, that is where the clarity has to happen. And for that, quieting the mind is important to go and find out within. That is where the constant, some practice where you sit down and kind of settle down your mind. In the morning is the best time. Sitting your posture is important. And you don't do so much time, just 5 minutes if you can sit down and first start focusing on the breath and deeper and going, and then don't have any distractions, just to focus on the breath. If the thought comes and they wanders away, bring it gently back. And that kind of continuous effort, like a few weeks, it will settle down. And then make that as a empowering thing for you in the morning before you go to work and all that. Then you will focus like I'm going to focus on the presence, on that inward self in the morning, and carry that like a perfume through the day. That's the word I always use. And then that is always there with you. It's like kind of you tied it to your whatever, you put it into your pocket or something, and then you are aware of it. So you, whenever you are really stressed out with the information overload, or with so too many dialogues or talks and arguments and all that, then come back and take a break, like a 1 minute break every hour, I prefer. But if you can break a couple of times during the day and come back to the presence that you identified in the morning. That is the technique I was trying to help my students in my wellness club to get into that present movement of your own self, and then establish in that, go and work. Then that balance will go a long way. Make sense?
Very awesome, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you have certainly helped me doing that, right? Throughout all my, the time that I've known you, right?
Yeah.
And of course with the wellness clubs, right? And just take some practicing. And the other thing that it has to be initiated by ourselves, right? By us, right?
Yeah.
For us to be able to like come to that place where there is a total balance, and to take that few minutes at times of the day to remind ourselves, of being in the present, right? And I find that throughout the day, I sometimes forget. But if you're in flow state, then it's like it's an awesome thing to, right?
Other way, Sonia, you can have a visual cue or some clue, like I used to do way back in 80s. I used to remind myself with something like a photograph at the office desk or something. Later on, as the Apple Watch come, I was one of the first to get the Apple Watch, and they had this breathing exercise on the Apple Watch, and also the reminder too. So I use that reminder very effectively, so that I'm reminded that I could do this 1 minute meditation. So that kind of thing also helps entrepreneurs quite a lot, because these days we have that, right? We have all these devices that can remind you, or I used to have a photograph on my iPhone. It says AIP. That is a question for am I in the present? AIP. The moment you see that this is something that you have learned and you want to use it during the day, and you don't have to tell anybody anything like that. The moment you see it, it will come to your mind. These are visual cues that you can use to remind you of this kind of self-guided exercise that you could do. But it's an important thing is to do, and get the mind in the habit of this instead of letting it go and then run you according to wherever it goes. And it will go around the world in a second if you allow it. That is where the really being in the present counts a lot.
Yeah, for me, the enjoyment really helps to be in the present. For me, I like, of course, we also use the love, the thing that's within us. Like, it's just that energy that circulates around you and within you, right? And it's just like something that's beyond, anything sometimes, right? That we can, at least that I've experienced before, knowing yourself, right, Dr. Rao?
Yeah. See, I was doing something this afternoon. I did started a course on this energy and entrepreneurship. One of them was there were a lot of entrepreneurs that I know in the clubhouse that are running rooms on autoimmune disorder. So they call me sometimes. So I go and then participate in the discussion. And some of those patients are real patients. They are suffering from the autoimmune disorder, right? So autoimmune disorder is basically immunity going against you, right? Yeah, they are producing antigens, antibodies from your own body, and they go and attack your own body. So one of them is, it can, suppose you don't know the disease is going on, but you have some discomfort. But then after you know about the disease and you're more worried about it, by your negative thinking, you can enhance the progression of disease. That's the theory, right? So I was preparing an article on autoimmune disorder and yoga. How is yoga can help? This is the where we are talking about the positive thinking, positive outcomes, and a positive visualization. All these things help at least to control the disease or don't make it worse by your own thinking, that kind of. So basically, keeping the thinking under control, there also you need, this meditation. So I was emphasizing on several things for them, like don't anticipate bad things or don't imagine them, but visualize as though you are preparing white blood cells going and attacking the whatever the rogue auto antibodies and all that. That exercise also works over the period, but at least it won't make you succumb to the disease by your own negative thinking. That was at least it will help somewhat. It's not, but there are certain exercises in yoga that helps the lymph nodes and all that. You know about that. I showed you the routines. But they have to be done. You say if you are having any kind of autoimmune disease, that kind of routine helps the revitalize your lymphatic system that can produce fresh agents that will help you to really attack the things that are causing problems for you. It's like a flushing them out, or like a cleaning them out, or repairing them. Make sense? So
Yes, and I didn't realize, the movements or the things that it showed me, it really affects that until, I wasn't thinking, I didn't even read about those things because I didn't want like my mind to go into that mode, when that was like diagnosed with those things. I didn't even look at it. I don't Google. I don't do any of these things, but some of the things that I can initiate, right, for it to be all well and all of these things, right?
Yeah.
And that is like for me, I feel that I always want to go beyond the limits of what people say, right? And so this is kind of like the thinking along the way, because we have everything within our system and more to be able to enhance those, your title, enhance the human, right?
Yeah.
And the meditation format in this case, right? So I'm glad that everyone can come and join and be like, take some information away and apply to their lives, because it's certainly helping.
It's always the entire human that we have to focus on, either by ourselves or somebody else too. If I'm a physician, that's what I focus on with my patients, right? If I'm working with myself, that's what I focus on. But for me, it's more like an inside job, Do I put my mind in order, my heart in order, all those things? They are all together. But ultimately, it comes to what yoga Vedanta describes as the bija, that is seed. The seed of thought is the one which evolves into a big tree. So pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your conditioning, which is bringing you those thoughts, understand it, and go beyond it. In psychosomatic disorders, this is a big deal. A lot of psychosomatic disorders where they start in the mind, they amplify in the mind, and they sustain with the mind paying attention to that. And these people think that they are having these things, and then they produce the effects also. And then they are reinforced by that, and they get much, much worse on that. So, understanding the seed where they are all starting and really going there and then examining it, stopping it, helps a lot with the autoimmune disorder. I was going to teach you that, Sonia, how to go to the seed body. It's the yoga, there are 5 layers of the body. The first layer is the anatomical, which is our bare body, muscles, and our organs and all that. Then your energy body, which is associated with the breathing and all the energy going around. And then there is this mental body, which is thoughts and emotions and moods and all that. And then there is this body of mind that is made up of understanding, conceptualization, all that. Okay, and then this seed body where your genetics, your immunology, your trends that you brought from your parents, all those things are there. Okay, so basically hereditary, genetical, all those things are there. But then they are also influenced by what kind of thinking you bring in. Okay, there's the understanding, there's the exposures, all those things matter. But if you understand where is the basis when I'm getting all these negative thoughts, where is the basis I'm getting all these fears, the moment I hear then you examine the fear of death and is that real or not and all. So that philosophical understanding where you really take into account like a, yeah, fine, I can really correct that. Don't make it worse by thinking negatively. That's the essence of it. That means you want to think consciously, you want to think positively, you want to think like you want to make your own will work with you, not against you. So that requires not just mechanical repetition, but going into deeper into that understanding by yourself, not reading, not discuss. That is not it. You got to go deeper and deeper into your own conscious being, and then you will see there a lot of things are just put there by either society or you assuming some things and other not never examining them. Then once you have found your own intelligence examining those issues, that's when you make a switch. That means you are not going to be influenced by somebody coming and just saying, "Oh, this cancer is so dangerous, you're going to die." People discuss, right? Relatives and other people. Or you have an account of it in the paper or something, and then your imagination goes because natural people are afraid sometimes, right? So that's where you got to see anybody can have an accident if they go out. Anybody can have a serious illness and all that. But once you understand this can happen to a human body at any time, then you are going to be able to withstand them with your own inner resilience. So, promoting that inner resilience, promoting that understanding of how the whole thing works, how your thinking contributes, all those things helps you to not let your thinking go wayward.
Yeah, I was also inspired by, of course, in terms of your story as well, Dr. Rao. And that's why, in terms of keeping, the mind out of the other stuff, right? That it's always bombarded by us. And of course, the point of being told itself, right? Sorry. So that was really awesome.
Yeah. You say it's a question of, you see, when I go to Martin, my friend on the wisdom, he does the Tao of the day. He is into Tao of Chinese philosophy, right? So he picks up one of the sayings of the Tao and asks the person who comes to them to pick it up. I never pick it up, but other people pick up and then they talk about it. But then I go and discuss this ultimate intelligence and all those things. So he was also dealing with so many people, but they come not with the perspective of beyond the mind, the perspective of with the mind in the mind. That is limited. Sometimes they don't recognize they are saying something or bringing up something that's activating something in the opposite person's brain, and then it goes its own way. So that's what she was talking about earlier. Amika Askaran, she was talking about that too. All these people trigger too. That is control is within us, but if you are not aware, it can be triggered, and then people can have their thoughts build up, and then they can have that. That's why having this exercise of meditation or some control that you want to do, simple sitting down, taking deep breaths, or simple sitting down or praying, whatever the people do, or journal making, whatever they do, if you can have some way to get yourself balanced within yourself, that is a wonderful thing. And then carry that through the day. don't forget. And then in the beginning, do that just after you get up. Don't do anything else. First to do that. And then in the evening, just before you go to bed, maybe consciously think of some positive. Keep it simple. 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever things that happen to you. It could be casual, small thing. Maybe you had a good laugh with somebody's joke, or maybe you had seen a lovely dog somewhere, or you have played with a baby, whatever. You have seen a beautiful rose, whatever, right? All those positives are so many there. I'm in touch with it. They come in front of me, and then I've noticed that we are driving. For example, the trees in May month, they have these beautiful buds. All are the trees, the leaves. When they come, they are pretty green. And we are almost near the river, right? So our area is very lot of water in the river bed probably. So we have very green weather, even though winter, everything goes away. We see only the snow. But then the moment season changes, I follow the appearance of leaves from the beginning till they fall off. And they reveal so much beauty within them. That's what I'm saying is there are so many things that you can be really occupied with that are natural, that are beautiful, than occupied with your own thought. If you have to think about something, okay, think about it, sit down. But then afterward, don't let it go on lingering with you. Just be definitive about it. And once that is there, don't let the thought lead you wayward. That's all I'm saying. That is a lot of time and energy saved for the entrepreneurs, because if they learn how to, they talk about compartmentalization. I'm not talking about compartmentalization. I'm talking about using the thought appropriately when needed, and afterwards, don't let it go all over. So that means you got to be present. Suppose I'm going on the road, driving to the hospital, I'll be in touch with what's happening with the nature. I'll be in touch with what's going on in the traffic and all that too. But then when I go to the hospital, again, the same thing. So many things I can notice, that are immediately perceptible if I'm not really occupied with my thought. But when I go to the patient, when I see them, obviously use the data, use everything and all that. But the key part of it is every time you do the task, be with it completely. Then body, mind, heart, everything there. Then you are finished, you take the proper action and all that, and then you come back to it. But then always check yourself whether I am in the moment, whether I'm in the present, whether I'm aware or not. That simple thing helps you to do meditation better later on, and also to sleep better too.
Because I'm learning to appreciate all that. People think that meditation is just about sitting for a few minutes or an hours or whatever it is, right? And I don't think, the way you just explained, right? It's actually throughout the day that you feel that. And when the balance is established that way, then there is nothing that is, limiting you in many ways, right?
Yeah. You see, the original purpose of meditation that was invented thousands of years ago was about understanding the superficial cognitive mind need to be under our control, our inner, awareness control, and then realize who we are, like the divinity within us, and also it's called self-realization. That was done by people who have left the life and then who are discovering everything within themselves. And that is very valid, but is that really relevant in these times or not? That's the important thing, But if you follow that, you may end up a time where you're always meditative, that is there. But leave that alone. What I am talking about is modern times, because of the extraordinary information thrown at us, extraordinary things that we do, and then also lot of fears, lot of anxieties, lot of discipline is there. So to notice that my mind is not in my control is a big deal. And to really take up a measure as simple as this, without taking medications and all that, is something we should all do that, because that way you will have less morbidity, less disease, less infirmity, and all that. So this kind of being in the present, doing what you are doing completely with complete concentration, that helps you do better exercise, that helps you to do prepare better food, that helps you to be nice and kindly to people, and then talk to them nicely. All those things help you in the interactions and everything. So it all in all, if you are in balance within yourself and you are not really taken care of by the thoughts all the time, and you are really thinking consciously, positively, and more like a life-giving energy, that is good for you, good for the other people too.
I really love the suggestion of the visual cues now that I
Yeah.
have to be aware of that.
Yeah, use that.
I will have to get it in the.
I can give you that photograph that I used to use, the AIP. I will send you that. You can see that in your phone if you want to, and also you can have the reminder on the Apple Watch. That is there. Apple Watch actually gives you that breathing exercise, Sanya. It kind of the flower is there. It kind of opens up as you take a deep breath, and then it is going down. You can deep breath out. That way it will give you 8 to 12 in a minute or so. And that deep breathing is very, very good. And then you don't have to talk to anybody else. So you can just look at it. Once you're there, you don't have to even look at it. You can just sitting down and do it. I happen to use so many situations where nobody knows I'm doing that. Okay. Because I don't make any sound, right? But I just deep breath. In the meetings, lots of times we sit down and talking, and those people will be vehemently arguing or calling each other in whatever. Then this time when I sit down and then take deep breath and out, because I don't want their negativity influence me and make me. So I just want to relax or retreat into my own silence. Nobody knows about this. So only I will be doing. So I'm saying there are so many occasions for us. If we are intentional about it, that will be there. And then always going by. After a while, you don't have to even try. You're always in the present. You're always meditative. And then you would react that easily. You will respond to the things that you are there. And then your schedule somehow gets really arranged. So you will be going more towards what is important to you, what do you really care about. And the rest of things you let them go. They don't even want to engage with them. And that saves a lot of energy, you know. So I have a very productive day today. And then at the end of it, I'm coming here. But I'm very happy that you guys are coming and we're talking about this, and we're kind of helping other people maybe who have a doubt about this, and then they can take it up, and then their energies then go up too. It's not discussing, it's not arguing and all that. That is helps us energy. It's like how much we can be away from the negative situations internally, and or if you can contribute in a positive way to resolve problems, that's fine. Otherwise, you just have to sit down, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody's aware of meditation, but they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What,
Because the movement meditation means they think, well, I have to sit down hours and hours, and I don't have the time for it. And also, it may be painful for them in the beginning, right? And all the thoughts going all over, and you are trying to do it, you're frustrated, and then you get more annoyed, and then you go away. And then if you go out, it's all like bombarding films, videos, everything jumping, right? So their attention is going to get smaller and smaller. And then now that's what is happening now, because they want reels, they want just everything in 3 seconds. So I think that there itself you can see how ridiculous that is. But you can use the tools, but why do you have to be influenced by them? See, there is a neural response everybody has. Even if you look at an apple is out there with its form and with its color, with its everything. But you are not having the apple inside you unless you eat it. But if you are looking at it, that picture is there within you. Basically, what you are experiencing is your neural response to the stimuli, optical stimuli that is coming into you. So everything is like that. So if you don't know how that neural response can be under your control, then you are in big trouble. That's what the meditation actually do. But it's not about having so much knowledge. It's about doing it. That means being in the present. It's as simple as that. But then we'll allow the body, mind and body really go into the past or into the future. And that's where we slip out of our present life, which is really our life. So come back to the life, stay in life, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, I love the, instead of like, I know that some meditations talk about nothingness and all these things. I love the ones that we're doing because it allows us to bypass that. The nothingness is actually, it's not. I feel sometimes it's interesting because when you're starting, right, nothingness is not going to be there for you, so it feels like it's unachievable sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
See, there is
so
a
I have to begin in certain ways, right?
Yeah.
For me, anyways.
There are thousands of years of discussions on what is called shunyam. That means emptiness. Okay, nothingness. And that same thing in Hindus or other cultures, they called it purna. That means complete fulfillment. Okay, both are the same thing they are talking about, but that is a state you will get when first your superficial mind to be completely calm, and afterwards you have to, if you have to journey 10 miles from the time you are scattered to the quietness of the mind, and going beyond that mind into these states, it takes 1,000 years. So I think those things, the people who are interested, they can. I'm talking about regular, ordinary Americans that I see here, and a lot of people are suffering because of the scattered thought, amplified by our media, our habits, our technology, and all that. So technology, you can be intelligent about it, but you don't have to succumb to it so that the technology really racing your mind and know too much of, and that has become a problem. One of the CEOs, I think he's a very rich guy, I believe. I met him here in the restaurant, but he does so much business during the day. He said 4 screens are there. But then I looked at it, I also have right now, I have 5 screens in front of me. A computer, a big TV, and this one iPad, and then there's a Meta, there's an iPhone, there are so many. But at any time, I just focus on only one screen. Okay, and also I know how to take me off from that completely and then relax. Then you can use the technology in a responsible way, but not be victim of that. So I told him very simple thing: close everything, and then just go out and lie down under the tree. He did that. It seems it is miraculously helped him. So what he did was he removed himself from those so many stimuli and then neuro reaction that he's having. So once he went out, I told him, don't think anything, just enjoy whatever that is there, the air, the smells, the tree, and all of that. And he did not forget about that. He was taking the breaks in the middle of the day and going there. But the important thing is, this is our forest bathing, right? Important thing is, don't go and think again for all these things. You got to pay attention to the surroundings you have, to the live things you have. Maybe if you go there and say, okay, I'm down, relaxing a minute, oh, I'm going to think about that, I'm going to think, then you are losing the battle. The important thing is bringing you back to the present moment and encountering the life around you and interacting with it.
The other things that I wanted to mention, of course, this is in conjunction with being an entrepreneur, right? The successful ones, the really successful ones, are sometimes extremely stressed, the route.
Yeah.
Why is that? We go after the success, but then the success is there, but then it's not still happy. How can the meditation part help coach people.
Yeah, that's a very common thing. You see, in the students we find it, in the very active, successful entrepreneur, because they have this inner desperation, like that we see. Either they are kind of pushing themselves towards what they perceive as success in terms of monetary, or whatever they things they get out of the work, recognition, status, so many things, right? But if you are really experiencing that inward harmony and tranquility, then you know which one to value. Some of these people, they think if I go further more next quarter, I'll be relaxing, or I'll be taking a vacation now. No, you got to take a vacation from your own mind. Vacate it. It's as simple as that. Vacate it, then you will be able to. So the method for that is calming down the excessive thinking and focusing it on things that are meaningful to you, and then really relating with the things that are there as is, as such. These are like you got 24 of them. There were downloaded with the sense perceptions, sense organs, sensory sensory perceptions, sensory organs, and sensory uh, impressions in your mind, and then three parts of the mind, and also this inner energy. So they're altogether 24 of them, 24 of them. Yeah. So the mind, the three parts they talked about in yoga and other places too, is first you have the mind itself. That means all the memories, all the bank of things, right? That is there. And then there is the intellect that they call buddhi, which is the discriminative facility of seeing what your thoughts are, whether appropriate or not. And then you create a identity for yourself with the thoughts, and that is the ego. So that ego separates yourself from the life and then establishes separately. That is where all the problem comes. This ego wants to be recognized, to be appreciated, to be having the security of having all the things where they feel superior than other people. All that is false. Entrepreneurs are striving for make a living, have some fun, do it in the right way. That's fine. But then find the tranquility, peace that is not out there within you, because they have no idea of that. They either want to take a drink or to have a relationship or whatever, right? But then you got to come back to yourself, and this is a lonely process initially. But then once you are alone, then you feel like you are connected to everything else. See, that is where the um, correct thing is to contribute to the life, because it's all one. We are part of it. We are not separate from it. First illusion is that we are separate from it. Second thing is you don't do anything for the entirety of the life rather than your selfish personal thing, which is really, you'll find out that's not it. So once you are really part of everybody, everybody is you, then you don't have the sense of separation. There you don't have any loneliness that way. And whatever you are doing, you are either loving, giving, or servicing. Not like I want to make something to please my ego. Once that attitude is there, then you will be working, you will be giving, you will be loving, and you will be servicing. This is the fundamental thing I teach in the burnout course, where I want the doctors to come back of giving, of really loving the human being in front of you, and also approach in the form of I'm servicing. See, there is a deeper philosophical principle for me in that Siva Gnana Jiva Seva. Every human being, like the Namaste represents, right? Every human being has this divinity within. I have that, and they have it. So, what I want to recognize is I want to recognize the divinity and serve the divinity. Siva Gnana is that divinity The knowledge of the divinity is there. Jiva Seva. Every human being, every living being has that. So whatever you do, if you do with reverence, if I approach a patient with that attitude, I have more respect for him. I will listen to him, and also I want to help him, not because I want something back, but just to give love and service him. Once you have that, where is the stress of the ego there? You see? So bringing them back to what they consider the very noble work, to servicing a human being, right? Loving a human being. And once they come back to that, this ego takes a back seat and they feel like they are really coming back to what they here for. A lot of burnout is happening because they are not allowed to, they are really frustrated, they are not allowed to do the things that they want to do for the patient. Um, Insurance companies don't allow them to do. Administrators want them to do a very brief thing. And everything has become money, money, money. And then these administrative burdens. And then basically they are frustrated because they are not allowed to help their patients. That's what they want to do. Most of the doctors, if you really examine them, they are a victim of the system maybe. But if you really ask them, many of them tell you that this is why I came here. At least that is my experience. You know. But for me, I transcended the external circumstances. I just go there. I just see the. Even if I come here, I come with the spirit of service, right? So I do it, and even one person is there, I will do the same thing. So I feel I did my duty, and I go. You understand now why they are so distressed inside? Because they have this. See, in yoga, there is what's called disinterested work, not uninterested. Disinterested means no personal selfish gain, but very much passionate, very much involved with the excellence of the work.
Yeah, that's awesome, Dr. Rao. A lot of information discussed today, so I know that people will be listening on replays as well. So definitely, you know, if you missed the beginning, including myself, the first few minutes or so, then replays and all Dr. Rao's are recorded. So definitely, it's worth a listen. And I feel that all the stuff that we discussed today is very valuable for, you know, in terms of bringing balance in your life and anyone's life, not just the entrepreneur. Although we are going towards, you know, a lot of entrepreneurship coming up.
You know, these talks, Sanya, these are also a blessing for me because I have the chance to kind of reiterate the philosophy that I learned and I lived, you know. So it's kind of living that. And what they said was, Atma Mokshada. First realize for yourself. Okay. Jan Jagat Hitayacha. Then go and share. Don't have to rub it on them. They listen, they take it, that's good. But then share. That is your word. So you first work on yourself, realize these principles, and then go and share with the world. It doesn't have to be my community, my countrymen, and all that. But it's, for us, everybody is the same. You see, that is the oneness. Once you feel that, the birds, the animals, and everything, they are all in one energy, one consciousness. Once we have that within us, completely understood and lived, everything changes. Your energy, tranquility, harmonious nature, everything changes.
Thank you, Dr. Rao, for doing all of this for us. And I feel a lot like in terms of, we would use the word discrimination, right? In terms of, it's not about the race or anything like that. It's just the thought that you pick out that is, you know, distinguishing from anything else, right? It's some.
Basically, discrimination is discrimination of people who are kind of not really knowing these truths or not having examined. You know, it's called avidya. It's more like they're ignorant of these things. You know, so they may not know about it. If they know, they may not behave like that. So there's a lot of room given to people who behave like that because we know they are ignorant of it, or they're fearful of something, but still, I'm not accommodating the racism. I kind of look at it that way. So it's I don't react to it because if they do something, that's their problem. I've seen discrimination in India, discrimination in USA. I don't find that any different. The same thing, the same human beings doing the same thing.
Yeah, but when it comes to meditation, right?
Yeah.
That is like when we're doing all of these things, we don't like. For me, right? Because I love going out. Even that, right? Going out and watch the sunrise and sunset, right? Even to pick out the thoughts, like I mentioned to you, right? To like, where did these thoughts come in, right? It's like, that's kind of discrimination. And then we put in our opinions on what this should look like and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of discrimination I'm talking about, right? Discriminate, kind of indiscriminate, or however you want to put that, right?
Yeah.
And trying to bring that to awareness of myself so that I that one is no longer being triggered, right?
Sanya, it's a big deal if you are able to go to sunset every day, sunrise every day, and then be with it. That's a big deal, and then that kind of brings you close to what is the life really, what is happening here now, and also it gives you the chance to be rejoiced in the plentiness of the life, right? Then you are using your important faculty of the mind in a way that is given a break. The time you are with the sunshine and you're completely with it, enjoying that, that enjoyment is really nurturing to you. But if you come back and say, I want to have that again, that's gone. The next one will be different. So be with that suchness of the next exposure that you have. Instead of thinking about it, experience it, enjoy it. So that's why they said, rejoice, not rejoice, what is it? Renounce, and then enjoy. Renounce the things that are not important in life, and then enjoy the things that are important to your life. That's a lot in that, but I just want to mention that this came to my mind, So it's a good deal just to be like that, Sanya, and then be aware at least a few times. See, from the time I met you, from now, you are using those words. Although you were not using them before, but you are using those words. And when you go there, that itself is a blessing. You are connected with the life giver sun, right? And then you just enjoy the sight that comes up, the nature, all the forces and everything. So it's a beautiful thing to watch those things. Who knows, the pollution will be so bad maybe down the line. Suppose you go to India, and I haven't been to the cities when they were like that, but then in certain seasons in Delhi and other places, you can't see anything like that. It's all smog. Even in China, all smog, So you are lucky that you are able to see the clear sky and be with the sunshine or sunset, and having the perceptive ability of the beauty and immersing yourself in that enjoyment. That is the gift.
Yeah, I find that it's not just about the sunset and the sunrise. I also love, and the lake is so calm.
Yeah.
And when I get a chance to go or walk around the lake, I will do that, and just the same thing, right? Because it's just like I'm closing my eyes and I can hear every sound almost, right? And
let all the senses flow.
Awesome.
Let all the senses flow. Then you are not making a thought about it. You are allowing the impressions fresh, right there, not manufactured, right there, and they look at, and that that is sacred. Such that and then they come. That is where the sensory input is allowed to come to you unimpaired with the thought. then that is enjoying the moment of what is that. And as suchness is that. That's called tattvas in Sanskrit. So what they did was they didn't have this synthetic, manufacturation of imagination or memory of the thought of something that is live and vibrant within them. So they are available to that to enjoy. And later on, you go and do. But right now, we are modern people. We think about things and we have solutions and all. But are we really? Are we really having that? For the entrepreneur you mentioned, who is really distressed, is because he is into the synthetic things too much, but missing out on everything that is natural that's around us. Like, for example, you guys are here, you have friendliness towards me, I have friendliness towards you. That is it. That is there, right? We don't have to have a transactional thing, but just relating as human beings. And that is going down. So these people always imagine, oh, these are my enemies, competitors. They're going to take away my advantage. I can't give the knowledge to them. All this thought, everything goes away if you know how to meditate, how to get all the scattered thoughts to the one focus, and pay attention to one object and be there, and reduce that to one thought and go beyond the thought. Then the real thing comes. But at least this much also people don't have it. Then I'm trying to give them simple thing that they can do, so that as an entrepreneurs, when they go, they will have a lot of energy, not wasted in this unnecessary thought. And also you are not led by the thought activating, thought to getting aggravated and all that, but rather you are using conscious thought. Keep it in a positive way. And that's important, because if you keep the positive thought going on, you create new brain that is positive by neuroplasticity. That's why it comes all the way now to neuroscience too. So when you study both yoga and neuroscience together, is fascinating, very much. I was flabbergasted how they knew some of the things that they mentioned, and now we can validate with science. That's excellent, actually. I agree with the scientists to validate those things so that more people can really understand and follow them and make their brain better than worse, So.
Yeah, really enjoyed this discussion today, Dr. Ram.
Yeah.
As always, right? Lots of information, and definitely, it's also the energy that comes with this all the time that you bring that I didn't realize before, right? The amount of things that are being spread, not only as love and joy, because of the passion that's within when we talk about these things, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to see, when you're allow yourself to be immersed in such a a place or
yeah. See, this entrepreneurship is going to be more because of the artificial intelligence proliferation. So one of the things I am forecasting is more and more people will be needing these kind of soft skills to balance the overwhelming influence of the technology. Be in charge of the technology. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying technology is bad. What I'm saying is be in charge of the technology and use it properly. That's what I do. I'm fully into these new apps and all that. I'm making videos, I'm making books and all those things much easier because of this artificial intelligence. I'm writing away, but I'm not publishing them. A lot of things were done already. So I need literally sit down and do those things. But I enjoy them. So after that, I don't have to have recognition or selling. None of those things are there. So I kind of enjoy just creating them. But when I come and talk, I enjoy that too. So things are going well. So.
I am watching you, Dr. Rao, and you're in terms of your design and the way it's coming out, it's really awesome,
Yeah.
And so the new things that you are forwarding on to us now, right?
I made nice. I made 60 videos last month, I believe. That guy said
awesome.
that guy said you reach your limits, so you cannot do it. Day professor. Then I said, okay, I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait a couple
I
of
have
days.
to like use another email and open up
Yeah.
another account.
He was trying to sell me the unlimited plan or something, which I said,
Oh
yeah, I said, I don't need it because I will be making them. And but you see, what is happening is visualization is much more easy for people to grasp rather than reading something we write, right? So I'm transitioning into that, make it everything. Today I did something on the pictory. Then he gave me a connection with the Hootsuite, which I use to do a lot of posting and all that, right? And then all those things, he said, you'll make it to short videos. And that's what I want to do a long time, because all my videos are 1.5 hours, 2 hours like that. But now I'm making 5 minutes, 10 minutes videos. That's very nice. So finally, I have something smaller that I can present to people. And meanwhile, they introduced me to Substack, to Pickaxe, so many new things they introduced me. Some of them I could do, but otherwise I want to keep it simple. So I learned this video making, and I'm going to do that. And then books are also done, so I'll give it to them to publish. And
I like the new membership logged-in stuff that you're putting in front. So that one, in terms of development, is a good thing for the long term as well, Dr. Rao. So that's great.
yeah. I mean, I could do so much more, I believe, but then the most I enjoy is once I explore myself. And that is the best thing I had every day. Every day morning, I get up early, very early, right? And then um, I don't get into this business or any of the, other things, because nobody disturbs me at that time. Everybody sleep. But I get up 3:30, sometimes 4, sometimes 3:30, most of the time. From there, all the way up to 6 o'clock, and the wellness club starts, I have the time for myself. And that is very invigorating, very blissful. So after that, anything comes is a game, no problem.
How is Durrani taking all of these pretty good? She's into
Yeah,
AI as
I
well.
mean, everybody has their own way of progress, right? So you just have to, I explain everything to her, whatever is happening, what is it. And then she, like, for example, I was reading introduction to this very classic book, but the introduction itself is 1.5 hour video, right? And then why that book is so great, what was involved, he was writing that about the author. He spoke it for 1.5 hours. It was so remarkable. I kind of presented to my sister and my wife too, and they enjoyed it. And then some things they could not really get grasp of it. Then I stopped and then explained to them. So they enjoyed that too. So that is what we call satsang within our family. My sister is in India. She's 80-year-old. And my wife is here. We three usually gather together in the morning. They come around 7 o'clock or like that. So in the morning I'm alone, but then afterwards they come and join me. And right after breakfast, we kind of have this, I call them elevated thought sessions, elevate our thoughts. So we don't get into mundane things. We kind of expose ourselves to something that is uplifting, elevating. So once we do that, it's not related to the religion or any patriarch, anything like that. It's more like where did the human wisdom went? What was the limits of their exploration? What is that we could really understand and experiment by ourselves? So one of the things I tell others is, don't take a concept, but check it out within yourself. Is this real or not? You understand? So, like, for example, today we were talking about, see, there is a sensation that we are all one, right? That could be a concept, or you could check within yourself. Do I really feel I'm one with everything or not? That is a test for you. It's not like you are to pass a test or tell somebody, oh, I'm really great. No, no, it's not that. It's kind of that is there, that you can be one with everything. And in that oneness, you will discover there is no loneliness at all, and you will discover what plenty is life is. But that is your personal. In these matters, wife and husband, all those things, we may be friends, we may be talking to each other and all that. But woman or man, it's an individual journey with him. The more you can go into the investigation of that, the better it is. So it's a kind of, they have to be ready to take it, they have to be willing to take it, and then they have to. So one thing is this, for example, how I relate to with my wife and my sister is, they have a mind that can get fearful, anxious, and also really worry about kids and all that, right? Uh, I kind of address them. It's like there's a strife within you. Do you want to understand why that is, what you can do? In that way, they are personally gaining, right, by understanding. But then once you understand, what are you going to do the world with it? That's where we talk about too. So it's not like a instructions or teaching from me. It's kind of pointing out a point and inviting you to go and explore and see whether it is real or not. So this whole thing is about you have a lot of uh, strife within you. You want to master yourself. To master yourself, you cannot bluff yourself, or you cannot say, I'm not this. You got to be completely honest with you, what you are. You don't, once you realize, who am I really presenting this false facade of something, then you will rediscover your own self much more. There are so many layers, Sanya. Just because we are married or we are friends, it doesn't mean you and me are the same thing. You just have to leave that respect. You have to allow them to see. There's a deeper aspect in this. Anybody can be self-realized at some point of time. Whether they do this birth or later birth, we don't know. But the thing is, the potentiality is there in everybody. Just because they are not there doesn't mean they have to be there. That is where you realize everybody has their own journey. And then respectfully leave them. But if you have a chance that they give you the ear and then they listen, then it is your duty to explain. So that's what I do very well, I think. They both listen whatever discussions come, and then we kind of explore them. And this is a tradition in India we learned from, where there is no gossip, there is no identification of your socio-economic state, gender, race, or anything. You are a human being, I'm a human being. We both explore into the truth of any matter without any prejudice, without any conclusions, without any superiority or inferiority complex, then you are really shutting down your superficial mind and go into the deep recesses of your conscious being. And then there are so many treasures there. That's unfortunate. When you see the modern minds, they get caught up in the logical mind part only, or cognitive rest. And then now AI has come, that's going to boost that cognitive faculty. Basically, that's what it is for me, enhance my cognitive ability. But beyond that, there's so much human in there for us. So that's where I think people don't. For example, this I go in the same street, other people go there, but I see plenty of it on the street. So my experience of walking on the street with the touch of the nature is much more than many people, probably. And then my sessions of silence that I go through the day, that are immensely energetic for me. But other people may do more than me or less than me. That's their business, their experience. There's no comparison. They're just allowing everybody to be what they are.
Awesome. Sorry, I've been kind of asking question there.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to answer.
Lachelle, did you have anyone on the audience there want to come and ask as well?
I've been enjoying the conversation. I think we can get a lot of insight from listening. So it has really been a very good room for me to process a lot of things.
Yeah, we're just sharing here, but then if people are there, I enjoy that because it's not like giving some lecture, but like reacting to mutual exploration of one. That's why I say come and explore. I don't say come and listen to me. I mean, listening is good. What you are doing is good. I also say listening. That's an important aspect of anything, right? We don't have to agree or disagree. Just listening, the act of listening itself is very fulfilling for us, I think. Actually, when I'm talking like this, I'm talking a lot, but then I don't mind going to somebody's room and listening to them. I may not agree with them, but I still would like to listen to them too. Yeah. But lately, I've seen in Clubhouse, they kind of argue and fight with each other. That means they are enjoying the separation into the degree where they are making enmity, making unpleasantness and all of that. And because the one guy at least thinks that he knows better than the other guy. And he wants to establish this is what it is. That's where they are doing business like a transactional thing, right? I want to sell this or sell that. Oh, you're going to have. And then I told the other guy, I think it made him uncomfortable, but I said nicely, so he didn't say anything to me. I said, if you yourself are seeking for help and helpless, how can you help somebody else? You see, all the business they're doing on the spirituality, that's where I kind of say, oh my God, what is going on? But for myself, you remember, just you discover who you are and then go and help the world with whatever you can do. That's the thing. There's also a chance to service and all that. So there's a lot of meaning in there. I think without having all the monies and everything, they were very happy with this attitude. I'm fortunate I just touched that a little bit. I still am a student of those great seers, but being a modern doesn't mean that we have to frown upon them. Go and examine, study, and then once it is there, just take it. But for me, there's a lot of wisdom there. And once we see, accepting that the entire life is one, physics is saying that now, accepting that human beings are not really separate from the earth, from the everything else. And then that's the important thing for our climate, And human beings have this tremendous sources of nourishment within that will solve a lot of mental health problems. Accepting everybody as one will remove all this inequality we have. Tremendous inequality. The poor and rich are going way apart. I also listen to the economic cycle, what is going on. What is, you see now, the bill they are trying to pass, they say the poor people who are collecting Medicaid benefits and all, they have to show some workouts. Maybe there are some people are just cheating, maybe 1%, but majority of the people, like a single woman raising children, because I see them in the clinic, right? They used to come to my big clinic, lot of Medicaid patients, and they used to come, they have nothing to really go by, Sometimes they can't even buy the medications and all that. So the inequality is because many of the educational research facilities and all that, they're not equally distributed. So that is there too. So there's so much wisdom that can lead to resolving the suffering that we see in the world. That is my main motive, because I've seen so much suffering, not with me personally, but with my patients, my family, and everybody, right? But having this kind of understanding, even the events like somebody dies, somebody, those times also this withstood. My sister who is 80 years old, she lost her daughter who is 52 or something like that, and that daughter has a grandchild for my sister. She is only 18 at the time, and this girl died in her arms. So mother died in the daughter's arms. So grandma is my sister, and the grandchild is that girl. Both were devastated. But I was able to talk to them, explain to them what is death, what is understanding ancient and all that. And then I got their mind out of it within very few weeks. And they were both around. They still feel, they lost her, but they're not having that severe grief reaction. This is something very useful, right? For a lot of people. We don't have to bury the memory and go. That's not it. It's understanding how our mind or brain physically react for the grief, and that is not good. That's not productive anyway. You can celebrate their life, you can miss, but understand life goes on. You can really spend good time with the people you are with. So I see that they will be fighting. They don't talk to each other for months and years, but then when they die, they are all unhappy. What did you do when they are alive? That's my question. You can learn from that too. So that kind of thing. So this wisdom, the ancient wisdom, is a real solution for a lot of our current problems. That's how I see that is very valuable. Not that you go into religious practices or blindly believe something. I'm not for that. I'm against that. Also dividing factors. Okay, religion doesn't really hold on to the truth, but there's their own beliefs, their own conclusions, and all that. Any religion, but actually, if you go deeper, they have the same wisdom, basically. So why do you have to identify with any religion? Anyway, I think that's a good talk, Sanya. You made me talk a lot today. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to take advantage of you. I do have a last question though.
Yeah.
About, we always talk about transcend,
Yeah.
And what does that mean? What does that entail? Yeah.
Do you think you are egotistical or not?
I can be sometimes.
Yeah, that's what it is, because it is the identification of something that is operating through you. But once you see that is only part of that was not there before, but it has been nurtured by the society, by the structure, education, and all that, identification with the name, identification with the family, identification with the country, all those things have been done, right? Then also this aspect of we are all one is gone to there are others and me. That kind of identification is kind of seen, understood, then your mind itself transcends the falsity of your image. You are something real than that. You own the ego. Ego can help you to go in a direction in your life, but don't have to identify yourself with something that's not real and separate yourself from others. That is transcending, not by just suppressing. It won't go anywhere. You got to understand. You got to see that is operation in your life. Then you can see yourself. Like, for example, you are lying, right? You are aware of that you are lying. Then the moment you realize it's not good, even though it is good, result is bad, you would say, I lied, sorry. You know, that is transcending your lying nature and then admitting and trying to repair. Like that false identification of who you are is the ego. Actually, it has a purpose. It is a purpose to direct the body in the way it has to reach, in the way it has to go, and all that. But nobody said to establish as the reality and then forget about your underlying reality. Read this book. This was mentioned in this talk. I know about it. Aldous Huxley, Perennial Philosophy. Okay. There are 3 points he makes in the Peruvian philosophy. The first point is, underneath all, there is a substrate of reality which is pervading everywhere and all of that, right? And that reality, second point is, that reality is within us. That is the divine spark and all that. And then third point is, the purpose of human life is to turn inward and touch that. Once you touch that, the ego kind of falls off. What you are doing now is you are covering up that reality with the veil of ego now. Once you understand what's the nature of ego, where you are making a mistake about identifying with it, all that is understood, you don't do that. Like I don't do identify like I'm Indian, I'm a Hindu, or anything like that. I like Indian philosophy. I like a lot of qualities of that. That's fine, but doesn't mean I have to separate Americans from me by identifying as Indian, by identifying as American. So it's a question of understanding this kind of identification is creating several nations, tribal nations among the all people. But once we have transcended that and understood we are all one human being, one human tribe, black or white or whatever, then what happened? You transcended that ego. Is it clear, Sanya?
That's awesome, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.
Glad that was clear. And and of course, I'm sure the audience
No,
would have that.
I will tell you. I will tell you a Sanskrit thing. This you want to remember this, okay? Mala vikshepa avarana. What it is your mind is misled with so many things, so it is dirty. It has all the negative thoughts and all. That is mala, means dirt. You got to get rid of the dirt first by doing the service type of activity in your life. Okay, then your mind is not dirtied by selfishness. Okay, that's why for that action yoga. Okay, and then vikshepa means scatteredness of the mind, all going all over the place. So bring it to one point and then see what is behind it. Then avarana is, that's when you discover this ego is like a veil covering the reality. And that's why even the reality is like a self-luminous, it's not able to come out because this cloth of ego. Thus, the deeper the ego you have, the dense ego you have, then the opaque, right? But once you release that ego by understanding and then transcending it, this what is already sun-like self-luminous thing shines through.
Awesome. And that's like cool ending to all of this evening talk, because I think
I know you are exhausted with this.
no, it's not that, but it's just I'm feeling the pain because I was doing this at night. Twice a day, right?
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Okay, I will see you tomorrow again. Okay, thanks everybody for coming.
Have an awesome night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Dr. Brown.
Bye.